So you and your daughter are coming down to San Diego in, I think it's the beginning of March, right? For Social Media Marketing World in 2022?
Yeah, it's late. It's closer to spring break this year for us anyway. And I'm really excited because my daughter Danielle is going to be a licensed realtor by then. And so we're planning on doing some exciting stuff. I think this will be my 8th or 9th year going to Social Media Marketing World.
Wow. It'll be my 4th, I think. Yeah, but let me tell you, I love going there and always get tons of ideas, but mostly I meet really fun, interesting people. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you again and meeting your daughter. What do you hope to get? I mean, you're doing a really good job everywhere as far as I'm concerned. Why do you keep going back?
Well, so because as we've talked about in the past, my brand I feel is slightly different than other people's. I'm not going for the 10,000 paid clicks you can buy from some other country or the likes that you can buy. My engagement is really high and my intention is always keeping it that way. Is that engagement is high because it's conversations between people I know who, because they know and like me, would potentially work with me in the future. So when I go to Social Media Marketing World, I believe that it's built a good, solid foundation of knowing what to pay for when it comes to social media, knowing what not to pay for, and knowing how to structure things appropriately. So the money isn't thrown away. The effort isn't wasted. It is social proof of my experience in the real estate market. And that's really what it's for. But I am starting to see something really interesting that's changed over the last few years.
Ooh, do tell.
It's a secret. You can't tell the other realtors.
Okay, I won't tell. I don't talk to realtors. I just talk to Leah Bach. So what is that secret?
I'm getting a lot of business from it, a lot. And it's different. It's started to really shift in the last year. And so every time somebody calls me about work, I ask them, how did you find me? And they go, oh, well, I Googled who is the best. And I got you. I got one Wednesday called me up and he said, looking for this apartment, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, how did you get my name? He goes, oh, you came up number 2 on Google. I go, I came up number 2? How did I come up number 2? He goes, what? I said, why didn't you call number 1? And he goes, oh, they didn't return my call or they didn't answer their phone. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So I talked to him and I helped him out and gave him some information. He goes, well, that's great. This is really helpful. Thank you so much for spending the time with me. And I said, well, imagine how well you'd have done if you got a hold of number 1. So, we had a good laugh and I picked up a new client because of it. And so for me, I think Google is recognizing people's overall overarching web that they're creating personally and rewarding it.
Okay, so we live in a world where everybody likes to say organic is dead. Organic is dead. Organic is dead.
Not dead at all.
What organic is dead meant, or obviously we have to talk about why it's working for you now, but to be organic is to just post and not promote. Meaning I do a blog post and maybe I amplify it via social media, like I mentioned it on Twitter and do a TikTok about it and whatever, but I'm not paying anybody to promote or boost that post. I'm not paying Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not paying the G word, which will activate your assistant. Instead, I'm just putting stuff up. So organic was supposed to have died a long, sad death a long time ago. You're telling me that it's not an individual post that is making this happen, but you think in aggregate, all of your activity on TikTok, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on players to be named later, you suspect that the big search engine everybody goes to is actually looking at that as an indication of your expertise, your quality, your attractivity? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. And it blew my mind. And it blew my mind. And how I discovered it was this. I have a higher Google rating, and Google rates you higher if you also are rated on other sites. They no longer just look at their own performance. They take aggregate performance in other areas, which makes so much sense. Like everybody talks about them as being the big evil thing and only care about their own little, machinations, if you will, but they don't. they're looking at me, and they're looking at me in many places and going, oh, her. And so it's resulted in a couple things. I keep winning these top agent awards in social for companies that want to advertise, and they don't take any money. They refuse to. You can buy their advertising package if you want the seals and the things and on your door and window, but they make you the top agent of the area. Like, I'm top 3 and first choice and et cetera, et cetera. It happens all the time. They're like, hey, we just picked you as the top agent in your area. And I'm like, oh, that's great. They got me in the local newspaper, and it's great. It just builds more of the same. So it's the consistency, it's the advertising, it's on many social streams. If you just focus on one, I think you're throwing your money away.
But again, the content you're doing is not clickbait content. You are doing what I love to say is demonstrate who you are, what you do, and how you do it consistently across multiple social media channels. Mm-hmm. But you already said you're not actively doing all of them. You are focused. And from what I understand, the big 4 are LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. Is there a 4th?
Instagram.
Instagram, that's right.
Yeah, Instagram. And I actually do Google posts as well. And I want to be really clear on this. I don't promote me. I don't promote Leah Bach. I promote only my listings.
Yep. If you go and follow Leah on Instagram, you'll see that most of her posts there are, hey, I want to show you this new condo. It's really conveniently located, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and it's kind of a fly-through, walk-through of many of the things. Well, that is interesting, even to someone who's located, I don't know, 1,000 miles away, because I always wondered what the harbor lofts look like in Vancouver. And now you're flying me or walking me through one, or the neighboring, like, what are the neighboring houses look like? Guess what? As many different sites know, letting people walk through somebody else's home is like catnip for a whole lot of people. It's that voyeurism. It's why my wife and I, when we go outside for a walk, we love it when our neighbors have their drapes open so we can see inside their house. You know, I'm not saying my wife's a stalker. I'm just saying that she's got a little Gladys Kravitz in her, if you remember the TV show Bewitched from back in the day.
Loved it.
Yeah, but anyway, you do a lot of that stuff. And so if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that you're actively being rewarded in all sorts of rankings, including search ranking, not because you're buying that position, but because you're earning that position. There's a big difference.
Big difference. So my philosophy on the videos that I post, because we have to keep them, like, I've heard now that the reels are going to go to 60 seconds, and they're not available yet to everyone. I do some reels because the short form video has a lot of traction. And so here's the thing. Remember when we first started talking about video? You know, it's like, you got to do video. And everyone's like, I'm too scared. Right. And I was like, no, you're going to get on video. And well, I did my own TV show. I did the video. I did the writing. I did all kinds of stuff. And I realized I have nothing to be scared of, because people who will like me because of who I am. And I'll attract people who like me, that want to work with me. And then we'll like each other because it'll be fun. You know, it's like, never work with people you don't like either.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, and there's no better way to demonstrate who you are, what you do, and how you do it than if you're on camera and it's clear that you're not reading off a cue card, or you're not sitting there with a frozen look of fear on your face, but you're just going,
I love that look.
Hi. Yeah. Instead, you're going, hey, this is me. Maybe didn't do makeup completely that day. My hair might be a little bit windblown. Who cares? I'm here to show you something cool. Let's go look at it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you're being yourself.
Yeah, no, totally. So the idea there is, the production company calls me one take. I do it in one take and it's done. And the idea is that I do not run a banner ad across the video before it starts. That is wasting your time as a viewer. That is totally about ego. That doesn't happen in my videos. I put the address at the bottom, then I start talking. This is why you should be interested in this home. This is why you should look at it. And here it is. And then we go through it. And I'm out. One scene, one take, done. I'm here to sell houses, not sell Leah Bach. Selling Leah Bach, it might happen in the process. But my job as an agent and in agency is to make sure I do the best for my client. So that's what I promote. That's what I think is valuable to people. And if it's about you and your shoes and your car and how fast you drive and your fancy watch, great. But that's the people you'll attract as well.
So in other words, serving sells.
Yes.
You're serving your audience, you're serving your clients, you're serving your municipality, your community. Oh my God. You know, there's been all this, there's a book about servant leadership and all that stuff. And it's just more lipstick on a pig when it comes to leadership and crap like that. But the idea of by serving, you are actually selling more because you're not starting with the sale, you're out with the serve. I'm serving you up a tasty video that shows you a really cool house that you might be interested in, you might not be, but maybe you have a sister-in-law who wants to move to that school district, et cetera, et cetera. And all of a sudden you can be a superstar because you refer them to Leah Bach, and Leah Bach helps get them the dream place they want to be. And all of a sudden it's just this virtuous cycle of service. And you're making my head spin here, you know, or in a good way.
Well, and that's where the engagement piece comes in. It's not the quantity of likes, it's the quantity of people that view your stuff, share your stuff, and save your stuff. That's engagement. And so I engage because people who love me will watch the video because I'm in the first shot. They're like, oh, Leah's got a new listing. And then they watch the video, 30 seconds or less. Keep it short. Nobody wants to watch your 6-minute video of the house unless they want to buy it, and they'll go to your website and they'll find it. Anyways, there's my lecture. But then they take that video and they go, oh, that's so pretty. Oh, I love the front yard. And then they send it or they tag their friends in it. When they tag their friends in it, that's the magic. And I think Google recognizes that.
Wow. That's going to be a topic of conversation, I'm sure, at this year's social media marketing world, if maybe not officially in one of the sessions, but certainly in the hallway, because frankly, that's where I learn the most, I think, is meeting people who are really doing stuff in a dynamic way that I consider the right way. Because as you kind of alluded to earlier, there are plenty of people who are going to tell you the current recipe that is working for this 3-month period because someone figured out what Facebook is doing for this 3-month period.
The algorithm.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they've cracked the algorithm for the next 5 minutes. But we all know that's going to change. This episode of the Nonfiction Brand podcast is brought to you by my new book, Nonfiction Brand. Discover, craft, and communicate the completely true, completely you brand you already are, now available on Amazon.com. Jay Baer, best-selling author of Talk Triggers, said, "The book is outstanding, highly recommended, a spectacularly useful guide to personal branding that pulls off the difficult trick of being both realistic and inspirational. A must-read, regardless of where you are in your own brand-building journey." To get your copy, head on over to Amazon.com and search Nonfiction Brand. And let's get you all the credit you deserve for the completely true, completely you brand you already are. I just look at the recent Facebook outage. It was down for like 6 hours or something like that. And that's huge for a lot of the people I know that are using only Facebook as their means of communication.
For sure. Now that is a problem, right? Now I wasn't happy when Facebook got bought by Instagram. And I actually
Instagram got bought by Facebook. Yeah.
Sorry,
right.
yes. Yeah, right. Because of course they're going to Facebook Instagram, right? They're going to Facebook right? Or Facebook and Instagram into Meta, whatever that ends up looking like. And I do have the Oculus, so I'll be very interested to see what they do. But I've always been an early adopter. And that's why I go to social media marketing world. As an adopter, I'm going to buy the tech first. I think it's going to make my life better. And sometimes I'm wrong, but I really like to try it out. I like to be cutting edge and I like to be on, the edge of it. Anyways, so I like to go to social media marketing world to see what I don't know, what I can leverage in my current best practices and bring them back to the team and see the new stuff. And I saw the TikTok lady that year in 2019. And I remember it because she was talking about the promotion of it. And I wanted to understand the technicality. I can't promote what I can't produce. Right. So she didn't do anything about production. And there was a whole bunch of people sitting there going, because we had never even really seen TikTok before.
Right.
It took me a while to figure that piece out, as the new tech will as well. So I go, I learn, and then I have to sift. And then once I finish sifting, if I adopt two good ideas, that can be life-changing.
Yeah. And I want to be clear to listeners that neither Leah nor myself are being paid. In fact, I pay a not inconsequential dollar, and you're in Canada, so that's got to hurt you even a little bit more to go to this conference. But the value that I've gotten out of it far exceeds what I spend on it. And I look at it as an absolute investment into my personal brand, my small business brand, my ability to communicate and demonstrate who I am, what I do, and how I do it. So
For sure.
it's a win-win for me.
There's another one before it too called traffic and conversion.
Yeah, I think it's traffic and conversion. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the lead funnel, click funnel guys,
Yeah.
which I'm not interested in. That's just, again, it's really not my model to manipulate.
Yeah.
If it gets people to where they need to be, I don't need a whole bunch of cold leads that need to be nurtured, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really not sort of my jam. Again, it's about conversations and community. And so I'm okay staying in my lane.
And that's important because a lot of people conflate the two things. Social media is nothing more than a machine to get leads or something. And
Yeah.
I don't use it that way. I will admit, I used to be proudly saying that if you see me post on Twitter, it's because I just literally typed it in. I hate to admit it that I have gone to Buffer to schedule some stuff, especially related to the podcast. It's not me literally typing it anymore. It's me typing it a week ahead of time or something like that. But I still like to keep it personal. I still like to keep it organic, as in organic chemistry, meaning the chemistry that makes up you, me, and every other human being on the face of this earth. I don't want to be talking to bots. The second I smell a bot, I turn off. Same thing, LinkedIn. I will link to anybody on LinkedIn unless you immediately turn around and try to sell me a course or a service or a product. And that's when I delink instantly.
Exactly. You want to come in through one of my network and you want to connect, I will connect with you. But if the first thing you do is tell me you're a mortgage broker and why I should use you, it's like, oh, bye-bye, off you go. And
Right.
It's the same on my Instagram, right? A
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of people think I must be fat and out of weight because those personal trainers are totally up my butt. Fitness is part of my life. So I focus on not just the work, but you can't just be about houses. You got to have personality.
Right.
And that's where the cringe mom sort of comes in. And thank you for that lovely description, by the way.
I say it with love. You know, put it this way. My daughters would call it cringe mom. I look at it as, oh, that's fun. And
you can
then
be rad dad.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be cringe mom.
Hey, rad dad bod right here, baby.
Right?
Oh, my God.
Okay, fair enough.
But you know exactly what I'm talking about, which is, and this is not a slam against anyone who's got a finely optimized click funnel system or sales funnel and stuff like that, because I am the last one to talk about that. My sales process is leakier than a colander. I mean, there's nothing to stop the water from going through my sales system because I don't sell via system. I sell via one-on-one engagements with people. I want to talk to individuals, which is why I love talking to someone who, even though she's a whole lot more optimized, she's still 100% Canadian made, Leah Bach. And that's who I'm talking to today. She's a realtor in Vancouver, British Columbia, as I say, up in Canada, but she is worth following. And again, probably I think you're number one, if you ask me, from this side of the viewing relationship. Go to Instagram, look her up at Leah Bach, B-A-C-H, Realtor, and you will see her demonstrate the home stock that's available in the area around Vancouver. But there's also some more stuff because Leah loves to be exactly who she is. And it's part of a strategy that we've talked about extensively on this podcast before, episodes 97 and 98. But we also talked about last week as well. And now you're roping your daughter into this?
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about that. I mean, this is now a multi-generational effort.
Well, the thing is that I've never taken on another agent. I have only ever had a full-time assistant. And I'm like number 18 in my real estate board. I'm top 100 in Canada, top 100 in Western Canada. Sorry, that's for Remax agents, not in all areas. And every month, top 100 Western Canada again. So I do more sales than the average realtor by a lot. So I'm very busy. I don't have a lot of time. But Danielle joined me last October as an assistant. And she was surprised since she kind of grew up with it, right? The last 7 years of her adulthood, from like 12 to 19, I guess, 14 to 19, she watched me do real estate and she didn't like it. Too much time away, too busy, too this, too that, too concentrated, too picking up your phone in the middle of dinner. But when she came over to the dark side and sat down and learned how it works and why it works and heard the story of what it is we actually do, when she starts to participate in the value proposition of how you are a part of families' lives, making them better, she bought all in. She's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can see myself doing this. And so she then decided to get her license, and she'll be writing her exam in November. Probably shouldn't even say this because, of course, she may not pass, but it's highly unlikely. I think she'll have no problem. And then in Canada, we have a practical where you have to take a practical and be mentored. So obviously I'll be her mentor and she'll have to practicum before she's licensed, but she'll be licensed by Social Media Marketing World 2022. And before that, we'll also be at the Remax Conference R4 because I'll be getting an award. So she's going to come to that. And I'm very excited to have her along. I think she's going to love it. And I'm surprised and pleased at how much she loves it already.
Wow. Well, if she is a apple falling off your tree, she's got to be a good apple for sure. And I think taking her down there is going to open her eyes to tremendous possibilities and just become a wonderful asset for you as well.
Yeah.
For you, for your business, but also her budding business as she becomes the next generation of Bachs in real estate up in Vancouver. Wow, that's really exciting.
It is. And she brings a really good aesthetic to her Instagram and social. She doesn't post as much, but I think that with a little bit of critical analysis of how it works, why it works, because I believe in purposefulness. It may look like it's all fun and games, but I'm a purposeful person and I have goals and objectives. And so with those, putting the social media together that's meaningful in a purposeful way, and once she gets that added to her own social and aesthetic appeal, I think she's going to be really, really popular.
You just hit on something very subtle that, again, I want to pull out my highlighter and just hit you with yellow and say, you love to be authentic and real and fun and entertaining and engaging, but there's a purpose for that. There's a linkage, sometimes I'll use the word mercenary to describe pure ClickFunnels marketing sales channels are mercenary. They don't care. They will do whatever to make the sale. They're very, very mercenary. Yet your style on camera is very personal and human and whatever. What you're telling me, and I'm understanding more and more as we talk, is that there is linkage between two things, but you call it purpose. There's a reason for you doing it.
Yes.
And that's important because there has to be not only reason, but strategy.
Absolutely.
Strategy dictates tactics. Tactics are informed by how much time, energy, money, bandwidth you have available. So you can't do everything everywhere, right? So Leah Bach, I'm looking at you. I'm guessing if I say, do you have a strategy? You're going to say,
I do.
And does that strategy inform every tactic you employ?
Yes.
And that's why you're on the channels you are and you're not on the channels you're not.
That's right. Go where you will be good.
Oh, I love that. Go where you will be good. If you've read my book, NONFICTION BRAND, I talk about the idea of a style stage, that everyone has a style and every channel is a stage. They have different styles. So Twitter, 280 characters, that's great for people with a fast verbal facility, meaning they can type something, they can get it out there, and it's no surprise that there are a ton of comedians who are on Twitter. It's not surprising there are a ton of journalists on Twitter. They can type really fast, they can get their ideas out there, and it can be done super quick. But other channels are entirely different. TikTok, obviously TikTok has expanded duration. It started out very short duration. Now you can go longer, but still it's about bite-sized video.
Yeah.
And there are some people who do high production value stuff on it, but most people are doing what I would call casual production value stuff. Even the stuff that's actually takes a lot more production value to do is designed to look like it's more casual. Like, oh, I just happen to look this gorgeous.
Yeah, isn't
in
that
this,
the truth, eh?
And the whole thing is you don't see the off-camera makeup artist, blah. But anyway, my point is that style stages are exactly what you said, and I can't remember how you phrased it so beautifully.
Go where you're good.
Go where you're good. Oh, that is perfect, because going where you're good means you pick the style stage that is right for you. And again, just to hammer this home the way I am want to do with a flippin', cinder block, I do podcasting, even though this podcast will take me in aggregate 10 hours to get done every week. That's 10 hours of scheduling, blah, 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 all this stuff. I enjoy doing it. It's my style, and it's a stage that works for me. Oh, and now I can say, I went where I'm good, or it's better when you say, I goed where I'm good.
Go where you're good.
I goed where I'm good. And, I'm going to steal that. That is so good. But as you can see, I love Leah Bach because she's a fount of information and a wonderful person as well. And we're coming to the end of this podcast, and I want to remind people how they can get in contact with you and also where they can follow you.
Sure. Leah Bach with RE/MAX Performance in North Delta, British Columbia. You can always follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok at Leah, L-E-A-H, Bach, B-A-C-H, Realtor. And let's see what else. I think that's it. You can always call me at 604-345-5345 if you want to. I'd love to talk to you. I'm open to any of your questions or assistance if I can.
And I don't want to be unkind about this, but I want to point this out. Both Leah and myself are north of a certain age. So if you think you're north of a certain age and you can't do this stuff, you are 100% wrong and leaving opportunity. Let's just say I'm a little bit even further north than that.
Okay,
north to Alaska.
North.
Yeah. But anyway, if you think you can't do this, you're 100% wrong. So get off your butt and start doing it. I'm DP Knudten for the NONFICTION Brand podcast. As always, like, subscribe, refer this podcast to others, and can you do me a solid and review it, because that helps other people find it. And she is
Leah Bach from RE/MAX Performance in North Delta, BC, Canada. You can always call me at 604-345-5345 or follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok at Leah Bach Realtor.
And that is what you call a sign off. That's it for this week. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye-bye.